Hi, my name is Andrew Paquin, and I just want to say welcome back to everybody from the math side of things. We're halfway through, and looking forward to this course together. And I want to say hello to members from the literacy cohort and to Dr. Zhang. Very nice to meet you all. Um, about what I'm doing these days. I normally live in Ontario and teach in the Kingston area, but this year I'm on my self-funded leave, so my family and I have moved to Colombia in South America, where we are teaching there. My wife and I are teaching at this school, and that's the school that you see pictured on my screen here. It's called GI School. It's in Armenia, Colombia. My wife and I taught there from 1998 to 2000, and we've gone back again for 1 year this year to teach there again, where I'm teaching grade 7, 8 mathematics. The white building that you can see to the left is where my classroom is, and it's a pretty stunning building. It's quite new, and I'll just show you that this picture here shows you what my class looks like, and as you can see, one wall is entirely made of glass with these huge patio doors that open up. And every now and then, you see in this picture, we get some visitors, these cows that come by, and well, as you can imagine, that causes quite a distraction in the classroom. So things are going pretty well here in South America, and but when we're done here in June, I will return to Ontario, where I will resume my position at the board office as a member of the curriculum team before I return to an Ontario classroom sometime in the future. So that's a little bit about me and what I'm doing these days. And I've just finished looking over all the posts that everybody else put up, and I have to concur with with the majority of people who said that they're having a bit of difficulty with some of these concepts. I found this, I'm entirely new to this, to thinking about research in this manner, and I found the concepts and still find them quite challenging. So I'm glad I'm taking this course because this is obviously something I need to know. One question was about being a teacher researcher, and although I don't often think of myself as a teacher researcher when I'm in the classroom, when I kind of think about what I'm doing, every day you're doing a little bit of research. I mean, every day when you teach and you see how your kids, your students respond, you're gathering data. So every lesson is almost a little experiment. So um, I guess from a certain point of view, we could say that we're researching all the time, and sometimes our research in the class shows that what we're doing is working well, and we go with it, and other times we find that it's not working as well as we would like it to work for either the whole class or a few students, and then we modify our approach. So it's a constant work of research. In my role at the board office, I've had the opportunity to be involved in projects where I've uh, accumulated and gathered quite a bit of qualitative data. But look, now that I've read these readings, these introductory readings, I look back on what I've done with a whole in a whole new light, and I think we really didn't know what we were doing. We had no training in research. And so I think as this course progresses, I'm going to have opportunity to look back and to kind of shake my head at what I'd done, and hopefully learn from it. So that's one area where I've had a bit of out of class experience, conducting projects. For example, we had a project with grades 7, 8, 9, 10 math teachers a year ago, attempting to use new resources in the classroom to advance student understanding and development of algebraic thinking. And it was a good project, but I mean, the research, as I said, didn't really know what we were doing on the research side, so yeah. Another place where I had a bit of experience was in one of our previous courses, in our computational thinking course. I had a project that blew out of proportion really, really quickly. Became much larger than I wanted it to be, but I was this is the project here. I put it in the form of a website. I tried to examine how computational thinking could be a very valuable part to bringing a UDL approach, Universal Design for Learning approach, to the classroom. And I did, I did my literature review, if you will, and that's all in here. But towards the bottom, right here, I did a case study in a classroom where I worked for about 10 weeks, at least one day a week in a classroom, a grade 6 class, teaching kids about computational thinking and then taking observations about their learning and their actions and their response. So I was collecting qualitative data there day by day in my observations, and also through a questionnaire that I gave the students at the end. And I think as I go through this course, I'm going to have opportunity to look back at this research and say, yikes, really like a do-over here. I already sort of feel that way because I know I was out of my depth conducting this research, but I think maybe after this course, I might look for an opportunity to redo that experiment, but with stronger research skills. So on to the readings. We were asked about our ontological and that's a tough word to say, epistemological assumptions. So this reading right here, the second one, I call the second one, the Guba and Lincoln article, I highlighted something at the bottom here, which as I was finishing this article, it really kind of struck me. No inquirer, we maintain, ought to go about the business of inquiry without being clear about just what paradigm informs and guides his or her approach. And I read that and I thought back on my work with the CT project, and I thought about my work with the 7 to 10 project that I did back in Kingston, and I guess I've transgressed here. I've done exactly what they say we shouldn't do because I hadn't really thought to consider about what paradigm I was using in my approach on this research. I just did research. Now that I've done these introductory readings, I feel like a bit of a fool. So it's good to think about these things now. I'm not exactly sure where I stand. What do I think about nature and truth, ontology? So what are my thoughts about the nature of reality and the nature of truth? Well, I don't. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I believe that there are multiple realities. I believe that there's not just one reality that we can ever really hope to nail down and learn about objectively. And so I guess I disagree with the positivists in that regard. I do think that people kind of build their own realities, and these are subjective. However, I do think that these realities, these multiple realities, are sometimes have to be based on some non-negotiable facts, and I'm not really sure whether I'm speaking correctly here or not. But I mean, when I was doing these readings, the example of the Earth came to mind. How humans used to think that the Earth was flat and that it was the center of the universe, and then that truth, that reality changed because it was incorrect, and now we think we know what it's all about, but that will probably change too. So I do see reality as something that changes over time, and that not only is it impossible, but it's dangerous to say that we have it all. We have this piece of reality all figured out. We have to be open to the fact that reality will change and what we know will change. That being said, there is a truth to that very idea of the earth and its shape and its position in the cosmos. I mean, there is a right answer, and I think we need to not lose sight of that. I'm starting to ramble here. In terms of what is knowledge? Is it fixed? Is it certain? Is it subject to change? Well, from the example that I just gave, I think we understand that it is subject to change. I mean, it's sort of dangerous to say that we have this knowledge and now it is completed and it's finished and we don't need to learn it anymore, study it, because knowledge does change. And if you look through history, you can pick many examples of instances when we as a people thought we understood something, thought we knew something, and then oops, we discovered that we were wrong. In medieval times, we thought that a good bleeding was a good way to heal the sick, and now we know that that's probably something that you want to avoid. So I think that knowledge is subject to change, and we should always be open for it to change. But that within that, there are facts that I think need to be recognized as standards. So I don't know whether I'm just rambling here or not. Because as I said, I really I really struggled with these ideas and will continue to struggle. When I take a look at these different frameworks and I think, where do I fit in? I kind of saw myself grabbing at different chunks of post-positivism and social constructivism and even some of these transformative postmodern ideas, which I think lands me here, pragmatism. When I read about in this article, when I read the section on pragmatism, it really oh my goodness, sorry guys, it really spoke to me. And I like this right here. Reality is what is useful, is practical, and works. When I'm researching something, it's because I want something to actually happen afterwards. I want it to be actionable. I want to be able to research something and then take it into a classroom and use it to change things for the better. In my view, if it doesn't have a practical application, it's really not worth my time to do it. So I think I land here, which means that I will use any tools possible to get the job done. So I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my ramble I think has led me to this place. A lot was said in the readings about objectivity versus subjectivity, and I've come to believe that there's no real such thing as objectivity, or rather that it's not really possible for any of us to be truly objective about anything, because we always carry our beliefs, our values in with us, and despite our attempts, I think we will always end up being subjective or biased or interpret things in a certain way. So that kind of takes me away from positivism and post-positivism, because these folks tend to stick to objectivity. I think it's dangerous to try to be objective, because ultimately we always fail. So I do agree with the schools of thought that say that we are going to be subjective, and rather than trying to run away and hide from it, we need to address it and deal with it face on, so that the people reading our research will know where we're coming from and will be able to interpret our research in light of our opinions and our values, and make up their own reality of it all. Anyway, that was a ramble, and I don't imagine it made a whole lot of sense, but that's where I'm at right now with this material. It's certainly challenging, and I really look forward to unpacking all of it with you. And we'll be in touch quite often in the future. Have a great night, everyone.